Hey, sports card fans, it's John, Wade Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. It's time for another top 10 PSA vintage baseball card sales for the 1950s, 60s, and 70s on eBay. This time looking at cards sold in the month of January 2022. I enjoy putting these videos together. I like looking at the cards, various cards that sold, especially from the different decades. 1950s, you have some of the big name players from the 50s. You see a lot of their cards, the main rookie cards, things like that. This month is no exception. You have a couple of the same players, different cards. I always like to look at these great cards and think to myself, boy, it'd be nice to be able to have enough money to afford some of these cards. But it also goes to show that if you did have the money, there are plenty of examples that show up every month that if you had the wherewithal that you could own. That doesn't include me. But 1960s, there's always a couple surprises that show up. Again, you have your key cards from the 60s, typically rookie cards that show up on the list. But this month there are a couple interesting ones that haven't shown up in past top 10 lists. And then, of course, you have the 1970s. The 1970s, I just enjoy finding out which cards fall into the top 10. It's always seems to be different and some very unique cards, usually some high grade examples. This month is no exception. I call this month of the 1970s the power of the PSA 10s. There are 8 of the top 10 cards. The examples are PSA 10s of that particular card. And all but 2 of those examples have a total population of 10 or less. In fact, 2 of them are the only PSA 10 copies according to PSA's population report, and they sold in the month of January. So with that, yeah, let's get right into the list here. We're going to start off with the top 10 from the 1950s, and coming in at number 10, we have the 1951 Bowman Willie Mays rookie card, PSA 7 with the off-center qualifier. I'm going to say this quick, as I normally do in each video. This is the type of listing I think that buyers love to see, where the photo of the card isn't the best, and that may put some people off. If you're a seller and are selling these high-end cards, it's not that difficult to get an angle somewhere with your phone to take a picture where you're not seeing the glare of yourself taking a picture. You can see the camera or the phone in there and the reflection and stuff. You got a light bouncing off. It just doesn't show off the card very well. There was the best offer, $20,000. I think maybe if this was an auction, it may have pushed some people off. Regardless, it is an off-center copy with the qualifier there. Without the qualifier, not sure. It would have been maybe a 5 or a 6, but it was the best offer, sold for $20,000. Coming in at number 9, we have the 1951 Bowman Mantle rookie card. Now this one is, instead of off center, this is miscut. I mean, it's clearly missing the top border of the card. This one has a 4. I don't know. I guess it's 4 miscut. So without the qualifier, probably would have been a 2, something like that. Best offer, $22,000. We'll see how that seems to be for a price with a couple other listings that we have here in the top 10. But coming in at number 8, we have a gorgeous example of the 1955 Topps Roberto Clemente rookie card. Man, maybe a little off center left to right, but that looks like a sharp looking card for a 7. Maybe some slight issues with the corners, but my goodness, that is a gorgeous looking card. Best offer there for $22,500. PSA 7 copy. All right, now we're back to another copy of the 51 Bowman Mays Rookie. Now, this is a PSA 6. All right, so if you look at this copy here compared to the first one, that's labeled a PSA 7 off center. This one is a 6, but it doesn't have a qualifier. To me, that could be, I don't know. I mean, if it had the off center qualifier, would it be a 7 off center, 8 off center? I'm not sure, how far it gets dinged for the qualifier there. But the first copy sold for $20,000. This one here sold for $27,000. So $7,000 more for non-qualifier, higher grade. So again, in terms of the eye appeal, they sort of look the same. So all else being equal, I don't know. I may have decided if I had this kind of money, I maybe would have gone for the 4 off center. But that card came in at number 7 at $27,000. Number 6, we have the first appearance of the iconic 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle non-rookie card. This one is a PSA 1.5. Obviously, you have that big border on the left-hand side. A little bit of surface issues there. But this was an auction, 75 bids, sold for $30,800. I mean, overall, for Mickey Mantle 52 Topps, again, more copies, I think, than not have this off-center issue, left to right, top to bottom, you name it. But for 1.5, I think that's roughly the going rate for that card. But anyway, that came in at number 6. Number 5, another example of the 51 Bowman Mickey Mantle rookie card. This is a PSA 5 for $33,000. So the previous one was a 4 miss cut for 22. So you move from a 4 miss cut up to a 5. This one, the centering, it's almost like that Willie Mays here. I mean, you got, especially that top left. I don't know. With a qualifier, it would have been maybe a higher grade with a qualifier, maybe sold for the same price of $33,000. That was a best offer coming in at number 5. The color looks really sharp on it. Good registration. You just got the little off-centering issues there. Number 4 is another example of the 51 Bowman Mantle. Now, I do have to point out, you may be able to see here on the image of the card that it looks like there are a lot of sort of like diagonal streaks in the card. Now, I don't think, based on the listing, there was another picture in the listing. It was sort of on a different angle. I chose not to use that picture for this presentation here, but the one on an angle didn't seem to really show those stripes on the surface. So I'm wondering if it was maybe the scanner or something that was used to take a picture of this card, but I'm not sure. That's the one thing that whoever bought this hopefully double checked with the seller to see if the surface was really like that. However, with that said, this was also a PSA 5. So as you can see, not all in this example, not all PSA 5s are the same in terms of eye appeal. Now, to me, this is the perfect mantle card. Nicely centered, in my opinion, PSA 5. This one sold for $35,000, best offer. If you go back to the previous PSA 5 for $33,000, again, if I had that kind of money, I'd probably spend the extra, or offer to spend the extra $2,000 for that well-centered copy. Again, even if there are some of those minor streaks in the card, I'd probably be okay with it. But that's just me. Let me know in the comments maybe which PSA 5 example that you would buy if you had the money. But this one came in at number 4, again at $35,000 best offer. Number 3, we have the second of the 52 Topps Mickey Mantles cracking the top 10 for January. This one is a VG3, a little bit better centered than that 1.5. You have that crease there in the top left-hand corner, but to me, it doesn't really take away from the eye appeal of the card. Overall, to me, that looks like a very nice copy of a 3. This was the best offer at $50,000. I want to say I saw several 52 Mantles at the National last year. And for some reason, I want to say that there was a seller that had at least one PSA 3 copy, maybe 2. And I want to say he was asking $85,000 for it. So I don't know if that $85,000, if that was a pipe dream on the part of that dealer, or whether this $50,000 was a great deal at a PSA 3. So I don't know. To me, given the 1.5 going for 30-some thousand, a 3, I think 50 is probably a reasonable price to pay for that 52 Mantle. Coming in at number 2, we have yet another 52 Topps Mantle. Now, this one here is also PSA 3. Now, this looks to be based on the serial number of the PSA compared to the previous one. I think it's an older slab. I know people are making a lot of comments these days that, oh, well, PSAs and older slabs, maybe the grading was a little bit looser. Maybe they went a little bit graded on the, rounded up type of thing. Who knows? But all in all, this PSA 3, again, you have a crease at the top of the card that goes into his hat. Some may not like that, but to me, the centering on this one is much better than the previous one. And I actually, again, if I had the money for $2,600 more, I'd go with this copy of the PSA 3. So that one was the best offer. This one at number 2 here was an auction at 58 bids. So that was the card number 2. So the number 1 card from the 1950s that sold in January was another 51 Bowman Mickey Mantle. Now this one is a PSA 6. Centering's pretty good. Looks like very good registration. Nice color to the card. But here's my question. This one sold, buy it now, for basically $70,000. You have this copy of the PSA 5 for $35,000. Now, I know that with these high-end cards, when you jump from one grade to the next, especially depending on the population of the particular grade, you can see big jump ups in price. You really see it with the 52 Mantle. But I don't know. Either this in a 5 for $35,000 was a bargain compared to doubling of the price for a 6, or this person hit the buy it now and paid a lot more for this 6 than they should have. I don't know. Again, honestly, when I look at the various ones that sold here, I'm going back to this one that sold for $35,000. The eye appeal of that 5 compared to the 6, I like the 5 better, and I sure as heck like the price a lot better than paying double. So again, let me know in the comments, do you think this card here sold for way more than it should have, or was that those 2 PSA 5 examples actually, did they get a bargain? So I don't know, let me know. So that was the 1950s. On to the 1960s. So we're starting off card number 10. We have the 1969 Willie Mays in a PSA 9. Really, really nice example. Looking at the card, it looked, maybe what is keeping it from being a 10 is top to bottom centering. Looks maybe a little short on the bottom, but wow, great looking card. Of that 69 Topps. This was an auction. 34 bids, sold for $5,600. So as you can see here, with the different decades that I go over, there's a big drop. You got the big boys from the 50s. They go for minimum 5 figures. Then you drop down to the 60s. Sometimes you get some that crack the 5 figures, but a lot of them are in that still high 4-figure range. And then you get down to the 70s and so on. So number 10 is the 69 Topps Willie Mays. Number 9 is the 1963 Topps Pete Rose rookie in a PSA 7. Little off center, left to right, but a nice clean copy. You always look at that top border with these 63 rookie stars. Looks like a solid blue border. Doesn't look like any chipping. This was the best offer, sold for $5,600. Number 8, we have the 1963 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 8. Great looking card. I don't know. Looking at it, it looks fairly well centered. Maybe there's an issue. Again, you have that with the 63 on a normal card. You got the bottom colored border, and that's always the one where you're going to get hit with the grade, other than centering, with some of the chipping there. But that looks pretty solid. This one was the best offer, sold for $5,900. I actually have a 63 Mantle in a 7.5, although it's BVG 7.5. So who knows what that would equate to PSA. Some may say 7. Who knows? But mine looks fairly close to that copy as well. So nice looking 63 Topps Mickey Mantle. Coming in at number 7, we have the 1965 Topps Pete Rose in a PSA 9. I mean, I don't see much wrong with that card. Again, I didn't see the back. Maybe there's a little bit off center on the back. You get some wiggle room with the off centering on the back, but I don't know. That is one sharp looking card. This was the best offer, sold for $6,000. Coming in at number 6, we have a great example of the Joe Morgan rookie card from 1965 Topps, a PSA 9. Again, excuse me, I need to take some to drink. We have the copy, maybe a little diamond centering, maybe if you really look at it. But boy, that's a sharp looking rookie card there. This was a buy it now, sold for $6,875. Number 5, we have, and this card typically shows up at least once on the top 10 list for the 60s. We have the Nolan Ryan rookie card. Really nice example of a PSA 8. Maybe a little off center, left to right, but still nice looking copy there. This was an auction, 42 bids, sold for $7,919. Number 4 is another 68 Topps Ryan PSA 8. The PSA 8s, I don't know what the population of PSA 9s are, but it just seems these last several months, the Nolan Ryans that show up on the top 10 list, they're all PSA 8s. So again, if you're looking for a PSA 8, just wait a month and there'll probably be copies that show up, as opposed to the previous one that was an auction. This is a best offer, sold for $8,000. This one, again, from the centering, may be switched around left to right. Maybe a slightly larger border on the right-hand side of this one than on the previous one. But again, sold for $8,000. Number 3 is yet another PSA 8 copy of the Nolan Ryan rookie card. Now this one, left to right, seems to be the better centered of the cards. Maybe top to bottom. You see there's a little bit of an angle there up at the 68 rookie stars. Starts going closer to the border. But this was the best offer for $9,500. So I did a check on the sales price, or the ending pricing of these 3 cards. So you have this one here for $7,900, sold on January 12th. The next one for about $100 more, sold on the 25th. Then this next one that sold for $1,500 more, sold just 5 days later on January 30th. So in the span of 2 weeks, you have 3 PSA Nolan Ryan rookie cards that went from $7,900 to $9,500. So I don't know what that means. Within 1 month, 3 PSA, again, all PSA 8s aren't the same. There's different nuances with them. But I don't know. It just seems that month after month, Nolan Ryan, rookie cards in that PSA 8, solid sellers, strong sale prices, and even within a given month could be, in this case, $1,500, $1,600 difference in the sales price. So again, if you're looking for a PSA 8 and you have this type of money, there's going to be more PSA 8s. Again, every month for the last 3 or 4 months, I've seen a PSA 8 copy come up on the top 10 list. If you're in the market for a PSA 8, my suggestion is don't just pull the trigger at the first one you see or go all in on an auction. There's going to be another one coming up. I don't know how this person feels paying $9,500 for this one when a very nice PSA copy sold for $7,900. But there you go. Coming in at number 2, we have the 1964. Now, this is the Venezuela Topps Mickey Mantle. If you know anything about the Venezuela Topps cards, they are hard to find, let alone high grade, in mid grade. Most of them, ones that I see, I mean, you're lucky to get PSA 1s, 2s, things like that. This one was the best offer and sold for $12,200. I did look up the population of this particular mantle card. There are only 2 PSA 5s, and that's the highest grade of any 64 Venezuela Topps Mickey Mantle number 50 here that have ever been graded. So highest grade is PSA 5, only 2 copies, and there were only 2 copies of this 4.5. So someone got one of the 4 top or highest graded 64 Venezuela Topps Mickey Mantle cards. So I'm sure the owner now of this card is hopefully very happy to own a very rare Mickey Mantle Venezuela Topps card in this condition. And finally, the number 1 PSA graded card of the 1960s for January was the 1963 Not Pete Rose rookie. We have the Willie Stargell rookie in a mint 9. Boy, looking at this card, I think the only thing that prevents this from being a 10, probably off center a little bit top to bottom. That bottom border maybe looks a little thin. And if you look really closely in the red circles for John Hurstein and maybe even Brock Davis, for the Hurstein maybe around the Phillies cap, and for Brock Davis around his chin, looks like maybe there's some surface scratching there in the color. But boy, that is a nice example of Willie Stargell's rookie card. This is a buy it now for $23,900. All right, time to hit the 70s. And again, this is always very interesting to me. What cards show up on this list? You just never know. And here's a case in point. Coming in at number 10, we have the 1976 Topps Wayne Garland of the Orioles. Never heard of Wayne Garland, but this is his PSA 10 copy. This was an auction, 4 bids, sold for over $2,500. I looked up the population report, and there were only 4 PSA 10s. So unless you're, and you'll see in this the rest of the top 10 list here, unless you're a particular player collector of this player, this has to be issues with registry. PSA registry wanting to go after, the highest grade, in this case, 73 Topps set, or maybe you're a big Orioles fan or something, but, it takes a certain person to want to go after, at least from the 70s, PSA 10 copies of a particular card. So again, this is one of the first of 8 on the top 10 list here. That's a PSA 10 copy. So coming in at number 9, we have a PSA 9 copy of the 1974 Topps Hank Aaron All-Time Home Run King card number 1 in the 1974 set. This was an auction. 29 bids, sold for over $2,600. Now, I've actually been, this is one of the cards that I have on my 100 cards for $100,000. So I've been looking at these 74 Hank Aaron cards, not in a PSA 9, but more of a maybe a 5 or 6, something like that. And even at this 9, I've noticed that this card tends to always be a little off center left to right. I don't know where it was placed on the sheet. It very well could be because of the horizontal. It could be the bottom left of the sheet. Hence, that left-hand side always being a little bit thicker than the right-hand side. So that's something I need to think of when I start looking to pick up a copy of my own, that I may have to be satisfied with a little left to right off centering and maybe just concentrate on the top and bottom. But anyway, this card came in at number 9. Again, auction for $2,651. On to more PSA 10 cards, because we have number 8 here. The 1976 Topps Fergie Jenkins in the PSA 10. And I want to say this, I didn't go back and look, but something tells me another PSA 10 copy of this Fergie Jenkins card came up on the top 10 list before. I don't know, maybe it's the same exact card, because the population on this is 7. So there's only 7 PSA 10 copies of this Fergie Jenkins card. Great looking copy. Can't really find anything wrong with a PSA 10. This was an auction. There was only one bidder, but someone wanted it for $2,750. Coming in at number 7, we have the 1977 Topps George Foster in a PSA 10. This one has a population of 13. This was a buy it now, sold for $2,850. Now the scan I used there the card looks a little grainy. That was just because they had a much larger picture and the card was smaller. So when I blew it up to put it in here, card looks a little grainy. But I'm sure the actual card in person looks a lot better than what you may see right there. All right, number 6. We have the 1970 Topps Rico Petrocelli All-Star card, PSA 10. This one, population 1. This is the only PSA 10 Rico Petrocelli 1970 Topps All-Star card. This was an auction, 2 bids. Someone really wanted this PSA 10. Again, it's the only one graded by PSA 10 or by PSA that received a 10. This one sold for $3,000. Number 5. We have the Dale Murphy rookie card from 1977 Topps, a PSA 10 version. And I know with these 77 Topps, I've been trying to collect some Hall of Famers from 77, just like that George Foster. Man, 77s are just notorious for being off-center. So to find a PSA 10 copy, both in that George Foster and this Dale Murphy rookie card, this one has a population, actually, of 61. I was a little surprised that there are 61 PSA 10 Dale Murphys. I would have thought the population would have been a lot lower, again, knowing how these 77, especially these rookie cards, the one for Andre Dawson is just so hard to find in a well-centered. But this one was a buy it now for just under $3,200. Coming in at number 4, we have the 1970 Topps Doc Ellis in a PSA 10. This population here is 10. There are 10 PSA 10s in existence. This was another auction. This one sold for $3,383. Great looking card of Doc Ellis. Number 3, we have the 1976 Topps John Ballas. I guess that's how you, Ballas, I guess. PSA 10. This one has a population of 3. Another auction. And I think if a lot of these, let me go back and check here. Let's see here. We have Probstein auction. There's another Probstein auction. That was another Probstein auction. and another Probstein. So someone, I don't know if it was the same consigner, but man, someone sent Probstein a ton of PSA 10s to put up for auction in the month of January. Wow. But yes, we have the John Ballas 76 tops sold for just under $3,500. All right, we're down to the last two from the 1970s. Coming in at number 2, typically you see this card show up on the top 10 list, the classic George Brett rookie card, PSA 9. Left to right, really solid, maybe if anything, top to bottom. With those colored borders, man, you get any types of chips or whatever, that just knocks the grade there. Gorgeous looking example, and this is the mini version. So the mini version is also harder to find. I don't think there are as many produced, and most likely not as many graded by PSA. Looks to be maybe one of the older PSA slabs, but still, this was a best offer for just under $5,000. Great looking card. And the number 1 card from the 1970s that sold in January. 1976 Topps Jim Hughes. Props to Jim Hughes, because this is a population 1. This is the second Pop 1 of a PSA 10 to sell in January. Another Probstein auction. This 5 bids. $6,766. Like I said, the other PSA 10 was that Rico Petrocelli. 2 bids for $3,000. Again, someone really wanted that PSA 10 of Jim Hughes. If you notice, there were several 76s. So I don't know. There may have been one collector that had a bunch of these PSA 10s, decided to cash in with the market, consign them to Probstein. I don't know. But there you have it. The number 1 card sold on eBay for the month of January. Congratulations, Jim Hughes. So let me know what you think. The top 10 lists from the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. Again, always interesting to see which cards make the top 10 list. If you enjoyed this video, would really appreciate a thumbs up. That's all I have for you. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.